Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another episode of 2-Bit Talks. Today we're talking about Sega Forever.
Sega
Forever. And it's I haven't downloaded the games yet. You said you did. Essentially it's a program or an app that Sega's coming out with where you can go and you can play the classic Sega games on your phone. You know, just your phone right here. You can sit there and you can play them and enjoy them, and it's free pretty much to play these games as long as you're online, right?
Yeah.
And then you can buy them for like $2.
I think there's like an access pass or something that lets you use cloud save data and keep and play the games offline and stuff.
Yeah, and this is a cool thing. It's getting all of your old titles, your old games back out there. Kind of Sega a little bit behind, you know, from what Nintendo did with like the Virtual Console, but still great. They're getting their old franchises out there and getting it familiar with people. There have been complaints, though, that the emulation is a little spotty, especially because with the Sega Genesis and the Sega Master System for a long time have been, like on PC, perfectly emulated. I actually have friends who I've seen have emulators on their phones and have been playing these games fine. And this is before Sega came out with Sega Forever. Mm-hmm. So it is kind of strange that they weren't able to get it. They've been having a little bit of trouble, but then again, they are mobile phones, and each mobile phone is different. You know, the hardware, you know, there's a lot of different models out there. And Sega actually came out and talked about, you know, how they want to go, you know, they chose mobile because they can reach more people, because even in, say, third world countries, not everyone has an Xbox or a PS4 or a Mac or a PC. So mobile phone was the best, you know, they felt the best way to do it.
Right, and a lot of, like you said, third world countries, places like India and China, the mobile phone market is flooded with really, I don't want to say cheap, but phones that are of a lower end capability. Like really slow processors, not a lot of RAM, not great screens, and that's to keep them cheap, because we see mobile phones as a device that we can't live without, and it's got to be living up to our expectations at all times. Well, in other countries, it's more seen as a financial burden, because, you know, they can be expensive. So I can see the disparity between devices causing a lot of issues if you want to emulate Genesis games, but usually it's, you know, it's an iOS app or it's an Android app, and it'll run on the OS that it's built for, as long as the hardware can handle it. And maybe that's where the issue's coming from. Like, if you just have a really low-end device and you're trying to play this graphically intense app or game, maybe it's not as good as if you were on a different phone, like an iPhone 7 or like a Google Pixel or something like that. So,
and keep in mind, Nintendo had not the exact same problem, but Pokemon Go didn't work too well for certain, you know, models of phones. Right. I remember that. I remember you had to have like the latest Galaxy or near the latest Galaxy and iPhone to really fully take, you know, to enjoy everything, or not enjoy, but for it to run, you know, 100% smoothly. Pokemon Go.
Pokemon Go used a lot of resources, because it was using the screen, the sound, but it was also using location data and GPS and all this other stuff.
So it was very taxing.
It was taxing.
Yeah.
So unless your phone had the RAM to kind of handle all of those different processes running at the same time, it could cause some issues. Yeah. So,
and keep in mind, this is all free too. Like, I mean, you can buy the game. Per se, it's you can buy it to get, you know, like you said, cloud saves, to be able to play offline if you wanted to and all that. But essentially, you can get on there and play the game in its entirety for free.
Right.
And a lot of those Genesis games only takes an hour to beat.
Right.
Like, you can pick up Sonic 2, and if you're at least decent at platforming, it's going to take you max 2 hours to get through that entire game.
What Sega's banking on is that you like it so much that you want to buy it. And the games that I've downloaded so far, I mean, you're right. They just Kid Chameleon, Altered Beast. I mean, they just play like they play great. Of course, I'd rather have a controller than trying to play these Sega games on my touchscreen.
Yeah.
But it's just a way to pass the time for me. I don't plan on paying for the service or buying any of these games because, like you said, I'll pick them up, play them for an hour, put them back. So, but it's good for brand recognition. It's good to get your name back out there. It's good to make sure people are still aware that you existed at some point. I don't know. And I don't know what they're doing now. When's the last time they developed a game that wasn't a Sonic Mario Olympic
I was about to say we're about to get a Sonic game on. I'm leaning towards getting it on the Switch. Apparently, you can create your own character in this one. So it'll be interesting to make your own Sonic character. Let's reach Sonic. A new level of furryism there. No, but seriously,
furry.
But seriously, another thing I was going to say about the Sega Forever program, it's very ambitious because from what they've said, they also are going to be aiming towards getting some Sega Saturn games and maybe even some Dreamcast games over, which I think is ambitious because if this is all being done through emulation, at least I've had a friend who's told me that he can run Sega Saturn games on his computer emulator great and all that, but for me personally, I haven't had much success, and I've looked into it, and it seems like it's one of the more harder systems to emulate for because the Saturn was a very unique system. Kind of like the 64 has also got some spotty emulation on PC because it was also a very unique system, and that's what I'm starting to think they might, it's very ambitious that you're going to be trying to get your Sega Saturn games on there and your maybe even your Dreamcast
if anyone could do it, they could do it.
Well, yeah, they could do it. I'm also, like you said earlier, happy brand recognition, getting your names back out there. I hope it catches on. I hope more people get introduced to Altered Beast, get introduced to Golden Axe, get introduced to my favorite series of all time, Streets of Rage.
Check the 2-bit reviews.
Check the 2-bit reviews. That's one of my favorites. But no, it's good to get there out there. Hopefully they gain enough popularity where they're like, hey, let's make a whole new Golden Axe or a whole new... I would love to see a remake of Altered Beast.
Maybe they'll make enough...
Still keep the same voiceovers. Welcome to your doom.
Rise from the grave.
Yeah, rise from the grave.
Maybe they'll make enough money in in-app purchases where they'll... I don't know. This is crazy. Come out with a new system?
No.
Never?
No.
Maybe they'll make their own phone. The Genesis phone or something.
No, it costs a lot of money for them to do that. They would have to be really successful.
Maybe they should make like a Genesis Mini.
They should. That's what I've always felt. I felt like Sega. This is at least Sega having direct control over this. Sega for so long has just kind of pushed it off to a third party or someone else to do it. This is good that they're getting directly involved in this, I think, because for the longest time, Sega's pretty much done the opposite of Nintendo, where Nintendo is very protective over their property. Sega's just been like, oh, yeah, Sonic, you can do something with them. Who cares?
Let's make an arcade disc. Let's make a collection. Let's whore out these titles. But I guess they're trying to do anything to stay afloat. I mean, they can't be that big anymore, right? I mean, they're not making systems. They're just basically licensing Sonic is what their job is.
They've had there was the glory days of the Dreamcast, and then after the Dreamcast, a lot of those...
That was so poorly timed. That Dreamcast, that was the worst timing.
I enjoyed the Dreamcast.
I loved it. It was great.
It was... I wanted to get it, and then... Because it was my cousin had it and he brought it over and I played it for like a whole weekend straight and I'm like, I love this, and I've always kind of been a Sega fan. One of my first consoles I ever owned was a Genesis, so it was like finally a new Sega system. And then I played it for that weekend and I was like, that's what I want. And then the very next year the GameCube came out, so it was, and then I heard Sega was like was getting out of hardware. Yeah. So it's kind of like, oh, I'll get the GameCube. And then
Dreamcast was ahead of its time, though. It was like one of the first internet connected systems. But the PlayStation 2, I think, came out.
Yeah, that's what killed
came out with like 150 launch titles, and the Dreamcast only had like 60 titles at best or something. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But I love my Dreamcast. They should bring it back. Yeah, I can go buy one for $15 right now.
$15, yeah. So. Yeah. Another thing that killed them too was being able to burn discs
on the Dreamcast.
Yeah, you could burn discs and just play the burnt disc on there.
There you go.
You could just rent games and oh, here's my new game. I'm going to burn this off. There was stuff like that kind of hurt them. We could get into a whole discussion, but the Dreamcast was awesome. Anyway, I personally think this is great. Hopefully we get more going with this. I don't think Sega will ever come out with any more hardware. They would have to be really successful, and by really successful, I mean they would have to be like bigger than, say, Activision and EA combined, like money-wise, to be able to go, oh, I think we're going to invest in hardware again, because it takes a lot. It's buying the chipsets, it's having the factories to pump these out there. It's just infrastructure that Sega doesn't have anymore.
Right.
That they would have to build up again. It takes a lot. You know? That's why there's only like 3 of them. And
three employees at Sega?
Three hardware
gotcha.
For consoles. I meant. Sorry, 3. You know, you got Sony, you got Microsoft, and you got Nintendo.
Right.
But anyway, guys, let us know in the comment sections below what you think about, you know, Sega Forever and about its problems that it's had, you know, emulating some of these games. Do you think this is going to hurt this program they're trying to, you know, get off the ground? Are you excited to play any of these games while you're on the go or sitting in the toilet or whatever it is you do on your phone watching? It always goes back to the toilet with mobile. Everyone knows this. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe. And as always, stay safe and play on.